Thinking a lot about money would be fine. If thinking more about it, we were able to make better decisions. This is a quote by Dan Ariely, who I think of as the brain whisperer for his deep insight into the way our brains work. Clearly, we do think about money a lot, so why don't we make better money decisions? We'll take a look at this video to uncover our really funny mental maths, how this sabotages our financial decisions, and how to overcome our natural irrational tendencies. Hi there. Dan Ariely is the best-selling author of Predictably Irrational, and he recently teamed up with a comedian, Jeff Kreiser, for the book Small Change: Money Mishaps and How to Avoid Them. And this tackles our weird money maths and how this applies to our money decisions. And I found this book to be hugely fascinating and more than a bit eye-opening in its insights. And I wanted to share my key takeaways because I believe there's power in knowledge, and as soon as we're able to identify the odd thinking our brains get up to, the quicker we can self-correct. According to the book, the following are the key examples of the broken mental maths our brains get up to make money decisions. The first one is failure to think in alternatives. We get a bee in our bonnet about buying one thing, and then we start to think of its value to us. But we think in relative terms. For example, we want to buy a car. Should we buy a Toyota or should we buy a Ford? And where can we get the best deal? We don't consider what the alternatives are or what we could have rather spent our money on. An investment in the stock market, a house deposit, and so forth. Paula Pant on the Afford Anything podcast sums this up very nicely. You can afford anything, but not everything. And that's true not only to money, but also to your time, your focus, your energy, and your attention. So remember, everything you spend on has an opportunity cost. Know exactly what it is relative to anything else you could spend on and choose to spend your money wisely. The second one is falling for the thrill of the deal. Studies have shown we get a dopamine rush every time we save money on a sale. And this is irrespective of whether we even intended to buy that item at full price in any event. Similarly, we're thrilled when we find the 3 for 2 deal or some other poorly disguised sales gimmick, and which when properly analyzed would probably turn out to be the more expensive option. And I've fallen for this one more often than I'd like to admit. Online grocery store, you know who you are. Our dopamine rush is all about the win of the kill, because we now have more cash available to spend elsewhere. Remember, we probably didn't even mean to buy this item anyway, so we've got less than we would have had. And at least as far as we see it, we've justified our purchase. And yes, we then go out and we spend our saving on something else we didn't intend to buy. The third one is numbing the pain of paying. Brain scans have shown that spending physical cash can trigger a pain response in us. And I didn't need a brain scan to tell me that, because I feel real pain when I have to hand over my hard-earned cash. We numb this pain by using card payments, particularly our credit card payment, because this creates a time delay between buying the item and actually having to pay for it on our credit card down the line. Big companies know all about this for us, and so they offer perks to spending on a credit card, such as cashbacks, flying miles, or whatever. So not only do we avoid the pain of having to pay with physical cash, we get rewarded for doing so. Now, how is that for supporting the creation of bad debts? The fourth one was where I really got quite a lot of insight. It's a bias in the language. And I have a question for you. Would you prefer to have 20% less of your salary or 80% of your salary? Now, most respondents quizzed selected A because it's the lower loss of salary. But is it? Watch how the questions are phrased and challenge your unconscious cognitive bias before you proceed. We are further seduced by marketing language, especially when it elevates us to a higher status. Luxury hot chocolate, as opposed to bog standard ordinary people's hot chocolate, or slimming tights, rather than tights that won't do anything for your excess weight, or artisan bread, rather than bread that's cooked in a bog standard mass production bakery. Watch the language. The last one is that we overvalue the familiar. We love brands. They are better, they taste better, they work better, and we know them. For me, it is my Starbucks versus any other coffee. Starbucks knows what they are doing. They do coffee well. And so, I'm okay to pay that little bit extra for Starbucks, even though I know the store next door sells it for half the price. Similarly, painkillers. Nurofen is the business. It works. Ordinary ibuprofen doesn't do it. But wait a second. In this case, if you look at the brand and the non-brand, they have exactly the same ingredient. So really, any difference in the perceived impact or value of either is just that, our perception. And this is so powerful because it is really and truly something to think about when you compare the relative cost of two items. Now, we've talked about all the funny mental maths that goes on in our brains. So how do we fix it? Well, the first thing is to make an emotional connection with your future self. Many of our instant gratification issues relate to a future us that we don't know and, quite frankly, don't really care too much about. I know for a fact I don't want to think too much about the older future me when I can barely deal with the old now me. We always assume the future will take care of that stranger. However, if we were to know and care about that future us and what we would really want and how we'd want to live and the values we may have, we'd be more inclined to be worried about that version of us missing out on those wonderful things. So connect with your future you. Create a vision now of all the things that the now you would want in the future. So you know that your future you is depending on the now you to create that as well. So understand, though, what your future you will feel like if they don't get to live that big vision you've imagined. Imagine the pain of not having that big life. And then turn that around and feel the happiness and achievement of creating that beautiful life. So you're going to build on your pain to create that fear of missing out of this vision, and you're going to build on your pleasure because that is the beautiful life you're going to achieve from your vision. So every time you're faced with a spending now decision, think about what you want to create for your future you, and does this spending support you in doing that? The next suggestion comes straight out of the book. Take control of your spending with a Ulysses contract. Now, the legend is that the Greek hero Ulysses had to pass through a dangerous part of the ocean on his journey. And in this part of the ocean, there were deadly, seducing sirens who would tempt every sailor to their death. And so to prevent himself from being tempted, he had his crew tie him to the mast as they passed through the section of the ocean. So similarly, if you know what triggers your spending, put some type of Ulysses contract in place that will prevent you taking those disempowering actions. If you have a credit card problem, stop using your credit card, cut it up, freeze it, or give it to a trusted partner for safekeeping. And yes, that means disabling it on PayPal as well. So automate your cash flows to leave only the amount you plan to spend in your primary current account and use a debit card instead. The last suggestion to manage our crazy mental maths is to make saving and investing simple and meaningful. So instead of opting for an overly complex budget that is destined to set you up for failure, choose a simpler approach such as the 50-30-20 overriding guideline, where 50% of your income goes to necessities, 30% to other spending, and 20% to your saving and investing. Secondly, name your savings and investment accounts to make them meaningful. The Simply Awesome Vacation Plan, My Financial Freedom Golden Goose, the Dream House, and so forth. So you make your investments and savings accounts easily visible to you as well. So you set up on an app, so on your phone, so you can check your progress towards these super exciting goals. Now, if you want to tackle your twisted mental maths by reducing monthly decision making, get your cash flows working for you by automating them. So grab the downloadable in the notes below to get an idea of how to do that. If you liked this video, please let me know by liking it, share it with any other ladies who want to change their financial story, and comment below if you found anything helpful. For financial education and money talk designed especially for women, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified of when I post a new video. I look forward to chatting to you again in the future.